Hello everyone, you're at the latest market news on January the 27th, 2021. Microsoft's profits and revenues hit record highs. Microsoft Corp on Tuesday reported quarterly revenue growth thanks to its Azure cloud service. The company beat Wall Street forecasts as the tech giant continued to benefit from millions of people moving to work and study remotely. U.S. Microsoft Corp's net income in its fiscal second quarter rose 33% to $15.463 billion. The company's revenue rose 17% to $43.1 billion. It's the first time the company has had such big revenue, causing its stock price to rise 4% in additional trading. Revenue for the cloud service rose 23% to $14.6 billion in its fiscal third quarter, with Azure cloud service revenue growth reaching 50%. Computer division revenue up 14%, beating analyst forecasts. Quarterly sales of game consoles and content from them exceeded $5 billion for the first time in the company's history. Google plans Australian news site amid fees battle. Google is reviving plans to launch its own news site in Australia soon, according to a local media outlet. In this way, the search giant is fighting with the proposed world's first legislation on payment for content. The launch of the news showcase site next month is Google's latest tactic in a high-profile campaign against the Australian government's planned legislation. The new law aims to force the company to pay local news providers for content that appears on its search engine. Google announced plans to launch News Showcase in Australia last June, signing agreements with several small local agencies to provide content. It subsequently postponed the launch, citing regulatory conditions, when the Australian antitrust regulator published a draft of a proposed media negotiation code. Asian stocks fall as focus shifts to Fed decision. Asian stocks retreat Wednesday as investors looked at the Fed's guidance on its monetary policy, while U.S. technology stock futures jumped after strong gains from Microsoft. The MSCI index of Asian ex-Japan stocks fell 0.2%, driven by lower gains in resource stock as some investors became wary of stretched valuations. However, the tech sector remained a bright spot after Microsoft earnings lifted Nasdaq futures by 0.5%, while Japan's Nikkei also rose 0.3%. Germany's DAX futures contract traded 0.2% lower, and the UK's FTSE 100 futures contract was down 0.4%, while the CAC 40 futures in France was up 0.2%. S&P 500 futures were mostly unchanged. Investors are keeping an eye on the U.S. Federal Reserve as the central bank is expected to announce the results of its two-day policy meeting later Wednesday. They expect the Fed to stick to its dovish tone to help accelerate the economic recovery. Starbucks' quarterly profit fell 30%, revenue 5%. Starbucks Corp, which owns the world's largest coffee chain, saw its net income for the first quarter of fiscal 2021 decline 30% to $622.2 million, or 53 cents per share. By comparison, a year earlier it came with $885.7 million, or 74 cents per share for the comparable period. The company said in a press release that revenue was down 5% to $6.75 billion from $7.1 billion. Analysts on average had projected earnings of 55 cents per share on revenue of $6.91 billion. The performance was worsened by reduced hours of operation, lower foot traffic, and the suspension of some outlets. The second wave of COVID-19 cases and restrictions have put a dent in traffic in the coffee shop chain, hampering efforts to increase demand through new product launches and stalls. Starbucks stock prices fell 1.6% in after-hours trading on Tuesday following the release of the reports.